What's up? You rocking with Head Cannon Graps. This is Off the Dome, and today we're going to be talking about the top title wins of 2024, and we're going to be talking about the top title wins that we want to see in 2025 from the men's and women's divisions, respectively, in AEW and WWE. But before we dive into all of that, I'm going to need you to first hit like on this video. I'm going to need you to share it out with somebody. I'm going to also need you to hit subscribe because we got a subscriber goal of 30 that we're trying to reach. So be one of those few to help us climb that ladder and hit our goals. I'm also need you to check out our Willow Nightingale video of how she reaches the top. I'm going to need you to check out what happens with the New Day. I'm going to need you to figure out who attacked Jade Cargill. And I'm going to need you to see who's going to be transferred back and forth in our transfer videos. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the top title wins of 2024 with number 7, Damian Priest, somebody who won the World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 40 by cashing in the Money in the Bank briefcase. He had previously, on night 1, lost the tag titles, and this year, between winning the tag titles and the Judgment Day, winning Money in the Bank, he had been building himself up from a mid-carder into a main eventer, and I think he had a very successful championship reign that even post losing the title, I felt he came off way better than he did when he was champion. And he now feels like a lower level main eventer that can eventually work his way up to being one of those mainstays on Raw or SmackDown. But I think his World Heavyweight Championship reign did him a world of good. Pardon the pun. And that brings me to number 6, and a theme that you're going to kind of see throughout the entire list is people who won a title and then was able to take that and move to the next level. I can see that with number 6 being Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn was somebody who has been on this quest to prove something to himself. And at WrestleMania 40, he was able to challenge Gunther for his Intercontinental Championship with his record-breaking 666-day reign. Sami Zayn would be the person to defeat Gunther and win that belt, and to slowly build himself as he went from being a joke character at WrestleMania facing Johnny Knoxville to then winning the tag titles at WrestleMania 39. WrestleMania 40, he gets the opportunity to win the IC title and build himself up as a mid-carder with the fan support and everything growing alongside him. And I think this is with the journey to get him to a world title in the future. Now, when does that come, and is that in 2025? I don't know. We'll have to see, but I loved what we got out of his IC reign. It wasn't that long, but he had some great defenses, some fun matches, and then was able to pass it off to somebody else who needed it in the future. So, and I think Sammy's been better for it since. So I think it accomplished what it was meant to do, alongside number 5 being Liv Morgan. And when Liv Morgan was able to beat Becky Lynch in the King and Queen of the Ring show in Saudi Arabia this year, and to win the women's world title, this allowed her to finally have a good world title reign that established her as a main eventer amongst the women's division. I don't believe that her reign when she cashed in Money in the Bank on Ronda in the previous years, I don't think it did her any good. I don't think 2022 was that strong of a year, because you had that SummerSlam match where she tapped and it made it look like though she beat Ronda had technically beaten her, and she had never really had any credibility during that reign. Well, though yes, Dom had been helping her out a lot, Liv is also the person who was able to help Finn and JD win the tag titles. She was able to win the world title, get Dom over to her side, turn the Judgment Day against Rhea, and it played a strong role on Raw, storyline-wise, which just helped her star propel up, in my opinion. So, Liv, pre-world title reign versus post, totally different, in my opinion, and I see her as a wrestler totally different. I wish we'd got a lot more just variety in the defenses in the reign, but I still think overall it did her some good to have this under her belt. And to have something under their belt, I think that leads us to number 4, which is Jey Uso. And the belts for Damian, for Sammy, and for Liv before them, helped boost them up. Jay, I think Jay was running kind of thin with the fan support, just due to the fact that though Jay is very popular, people love him, the kids love him, his merch sells. He kept challenging for titles and he kept losing. And I felt like that was going to run thin eventually, and I didn't see him eventually beating Braun. I didn't see that in the cards, but when it happened, it made me record my first video. My first Off the Dome was Jay winning that title. And man, what a time and what a ride a month-long icy reign was, but he made the most out of that. The man had 3 different t-shirts, as you see on the screen already. The man was going crazy, and even Roman acknowledged him and how it benefited him in the long run. So I think Jay really made something off of that run with that IC title. And to surprise people make something out of their run, I think that leads us to Roxanne Perez with the NXT Women's Championship. Defeating Lyra Valkyria at Stand and Deliver 2024, Roxanne Perez would adopt this heel persona and go on to defeat Jordan Grace, Jayla Parker, we're talking Lola Vice, a lot of those NXT women, some of the biggest names you see on the division now, she's already defeated them in title matches. Julia, the current champion, he would defeat her when she first comes into the company, handing her her first loss. And being one of these spearheads for the NXT brand, moving it forward alongside Trick Williams, Roxanne was able to bring this brand up to notoriety, be the head of a division that is growing and blossoming into being one of the best women's divisions across pro wrestling, period. So I gotta hand it to Roxanne for this. She turned a lot of heads. She made a lot of people who doubted her into believers. And what a great title reign that was for her. And we're looking forward to probably seeing her move up in the Royal Rumble this year to the main roster. But speaking of Royal Rumble winners, Cody Rhodes, who would win the Royal Rumble in 2024 and go on to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 in the main event for the world title, the WWE title that is. Hey, to me, I have Cody at number 2 for a reason, and that is I feel like 2023 and 2024, Cody already had felt like a world champion, and he'd been challenged by John Cena to be the champion without the belt. Well, I think he accomplished that, as 2023 was one of my first breakout years in really traveling and going to wrestling shows. I went to 11 shows that year, SummerSlam being one of them, WrestleMania 39 being one of them. To be there when he lost, to be there at that Raw after WrestleMania when he gets attacked by Brock, to be there at the end of the Brock feud, where you could have said, yeah, this could have had a title on it, but it didn't, and it still propelled Cody forward. And to have a tag title reign with Jay, which was a fun little pit stop with him against the Judgment Day before they had that War Games match, and him settling up a feud with Seth that would then help him on his quest towards WrestleMania 40. It was a well put together story, and I just have it at number 2 only for the sheer fact that Cody just already felt like the world champion, and to me this was just putting the seal of approval on something we already knew was coming. There was a little doubt in some people's minds, but I don't think we really had that doubt at WrestleMania 40 because it was Cody's time, and there was no greater symbol of that than him winning back-to-back Rumbles, him marching forward through the Rock storyline and all of that, which, yes, had some real-life implications, but in the end, Cody was still able to finish his story and then carry this company forward into a whole new era that he has been this year. And only Cody could have brought in this era that now we're having a Wing the Eagle Championship being showcased on our television. Such a cool thing to me that you couldn't have imagined a couple years ago. So great to have Cody in that spot. But to me, somebody who transcended their role from one year to another and really took growth in their championship win was Swerve Strickland with the AEW World Championship. My number 1 for top title wins of 2024. maybe there's a little bias in this because I was there live in St. Louis at AEW Dynasty, but when Swerve Strickland won the AEW Championship off of Samoa Joe, to me, it was just the icing on the cake of a great night. To then watch Swerve then go from being a AEW mid-carder that people wanted to see break through that glass ceiling. He had the world title potential, but he just never had the world title time and the actual TV time. Well, we got that this year. Whether it was him feuding with Christian Cage, which yes, it wasn't the greatest thing, but it helped boost him up, give him a solid defense. We moved him on to him and Will and their feud, and then you would then go on to the Blood and Guts match with him captaining Team AEW against the Elite. What a fun match that was. The fact that they let Swerve be this Terminator-esque unstoppable figure, and him being able to take on the entire other team on his own. To me, Swerve came out looking like a true top guy and the head and spear of a complete men's division. Something that you could not have seen the year prior out of Swerve, just due to the time they were giving him. For him to beat Will, for him to go on to the main event of All In, and yet he would lose to Bryan Danielson, but what a fun and exciting match to end that night in that great show. And so, to me, Swerve came in that reign one way and has now come out a complete, utter star on the other side of that reign. And better for it, for the company and for him. But enough about the past. Now it's about what I want to see for the future. And we're going to look at the 2025 wants, starting with number 7. And that's plain and simple. I want to see Sheamus win the Intercontinental Championship this year. It could be at WrestleMania off of Braun Breaker. It could be in a triple threat with, we can throw Ludwig Kaiser in there. We can do a rematch of the triple threat we've already had before, because that was such a fun triple threat. Why not give that the showcase at WrestleMania? And either way, Sheamus is walking out this year with the title. We have teased it enough. We teased it at Clash of the Castle. We teased it at WrestleMania 39, my first WrestleMania I was at. I thought he was going to win it there in that triple threat. He didn't win it there. He wasn't even involved in the IC title match the next WrestleMania. Well, hey, no more teasing, no more playing around. It's Sheamus' time. Let's hump to it. Let's get to it. But talking about your time is up, your time is now. Well, number 6, I think it's kind of obvious at the way we're playing out this story. It's going to be John Cena winning number 17 this year. And I don't think it's going to be the World Heavyweight title. I think it's going to be the WWE title. We start where we come back home to it. We won it 20 years ago at WrestleMania 21. I could see the potential of a WrestleMania 41 win with John Cena facing Cody Rhodes after winning the Elimination Chamber to beat him for the number 17 to give a happy send-off at WrestleMania. I also can see it going a different way, and I'll talk about who John will beat later for the title, but I think John will win the title at SummerSlam instead of WrestleMania. And so, a little more adversity. I think John's going to have to go through that for the WWE title. But somebody who's had to go through a lot of adversity through their career, and we're now at a point where it's all about him. It's going to be Xavier Woods. And I believe at WrestleMania, Xavier Woods is going to get the United States title. Now, for a deeper understanding and a more thorough telling of what I think is going to happen to get to this point, you need to check out my What Happens with the New Day video. But I definitely believe that Xavier Woods will be getting the U.S. title at WrestleMania 41. And whether it's against LA Knight or a mystery opponent that I have booked in a triple threat, I think no matter what, Xavier Woods gets that title. But definitely check that video out to hear more about that storyline. But that leads me to Hangman Adam Page at number 4. And I think I logically did not see Hangman in the order that I have him now winning the title, but kind of where the Death Rider story has gone in AEW. And I kind of challenged myself to see where could I change out who I originally had, which was Darby Allin winning the title. Well, if we had to take Darby out of that and we had to put somebody else in that spot, who would it be? And I think Hangman Adam Page is going to be the person to defeat Jon Moxley for that title. And as he said about CM Punk years ago, he was trying to save AEW from him. Well, reluctantly, a lot of superhero movies, you have the reluctant hero. I think he's going to be our reluctant hero who's going to save AEW from Jon Moxley, only to turn his back on AEW again for selfish desires around that title. But I think eventually he'll have to lose to somebody who will be the true savior of AEW. We'll get to that later on in another point. But the person who I do not believe is going to be the savior of AEW, but will win the AEW World Championship in 2025 nonetheless, is Bobby Lashley at number 3. And so Bobby, I see him just being a thorn in a certain individual's side, that individual being Swerve Strickland. I think the Hurt Syndicate will always just be this forever rival with Swerve, just due to the fact that Swerve was the first person to reject them in AEW. And so you never forget your first, and we'll never forget you, Swerve. We're going to beat you down every time we see you and every chance that we get. And so in my timeline, how I see everything playing out, I see it going to Jon Moxley, to Hangman Adam Page at AEW Revolution. You already see the belt buckle in the design, and yes, it's in Texas, but who loves the Texas Death Match? Who's a cowboy? Who always wears belt buckles down to the ring? They kind of look like that. Well, hey, it's Hangman Adam Page, because he'll be walking in as champ at the main event of All in Texas to face Swerve Strickland for the world title. Swerve will then end up winning the world title, going through the Owen Hart tournament. He'll win the world title, culminating at the end of that pay-per-view, which then at Full Gear, a year from their first match, Bobby Lashley is going to put Swerve down and take the AEW World Championship for himself in the Syndicate. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about that, though. But leading me to number 2, we sticking it in the AEW family, and it's Willow Nightingale, and it's revolving around the TBS title and the world title. Once again, you want to know more about why is she holding 2 titles? How did she get to this point? How did we book her to this point? Check out my Willow's Journey to the Top video that we have on the channel. But to me, Willow having this Jay Lethal ROH TV title run with the TBS title to then lead into her challenging and winning the world title off of a certain fallen goddess, I could easily see that happening at World's End at the end of the year for the second one, the world title that is. And for the TBS title, I can easily see the TBS title being won at Revolution, where she takes it off of Monet. Fingers crossed, but you want more details, you want to learn more about the story, check out that video as well. But that leads me to my final and my number 1 win that I want to see next year. I want to see Braun Breaker win the WWE Championship off of, you can see him in the corner, John Cena. And I think to give a young up-and-comer a great win and a person to take it off of John Cena and be able to carry that forward, who better than Braun Breaker, somebody who's really been taking a lot of what he's been given and making it work, whether it's him randomly having to be a babyface, him randomly having to be a heel, him having to lose the title and then work his way back to that story to win that title again and make it believable to the fans. Braun's been working hard this year, and so I see Cody Rhodes losing it to Randy Orton at Backlash. I see Randy Orton losing it to John Cena at SummerSlam. And then I could see Braun Breaker breaking John Cena's back at Survivor Series for that WWE title to establish himself as a main eventer. But what do you think about that? What do you think about my picks for 2024? What do you think about my picks for 2025 and who should win there? Drop your comments below and let me know who you want to see win this year and who you wish would have won last year. Again, hit subscribe. We have a subscriber goal of 30 that we are trying to reach on this channel, so please be one of the many to help us get there. We have videos on this channel covering Jade Cargill and who attacked her, Willow Nightingale's rise to the top, finishing the women's IC title tournament that has now concluded on Raw this past Monday. So check out that video, see how right or wrong I was when it came to that. See who's going to be transferred back and forth in the transfer window. See what's to come next with the New Day. And, for everything wrestling, you're in the right place. Peace and chicken grease.